I was in LA for the Creed premiere. When I found out in the car going to the premiere that Creed was about us, about my family. Are you serious? Everything you told me about, I put together into this movie, and Creed was about us. So they don't share things with me.
Welcome to the Royal Treatment. I am your host, Royal Irvin, and this is the space where entertainment industry creatives can be seen, heard, and celebrated. This episode, I'll be releasing exclusive footage of my interview with a man who is the patriarch of a true creative dynasty. We're talking about the father of three of the most brilliant young Black men in entertainment today. Those three young men, Keenan, Noah, and Ryan Coogler. How dynamic is it that for our premiere episode, we have the honor of welcoming the man who helped shape these three incredible minds? We're here to give him the ultimate royal treatment. Royal ones, check out the interview and be sure to leave warm, welcoming comments and questions for the one and only Mr. Ira Coogler. Welcome to the Royal Treatment. Thank you for joining us. I am so glad to have you and so grateful that you took the time to be with us.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure. Pleasure's mine.
Take us back to the beginning. Let's take a walk back to the beginning. What was it like being a young Black father raising three young Black boys in the Bay Area? Did you have any concerns, or did you have any, moments that stood out to you as far as happy moments? Take us back. Tell us a little story about how it started.
Yeah, I had typical father concerns. You know what I mean? I can't think of anyone who was bringing up, four boys in the inner city, urban America. That's not didn't have any concerns. So my concerns were many. But I put more stress on myself, me and my wife, our family, in terms of putting them in the right direction. I realized that I couldn't control what's happening outside my house. I can only control what's happening inside my house. So I felt like if I raised them right, gave them good fertilizer and good water and kept them in the sunlight, that plant would grow despite of what was going on outside. So my concerns were many. Just me doing it the right way. We were young. Didn't read a book on it. I mean, I wish there was a book written on it about fatherhood, but I didn't read one. So I just brought it the best way that I could. And I was fortunate to have a wife at that point who had the same values as I did. The same concerns. So it made it. We kind of coincided. It made it real nice.
I know you told me that you do love to write, and I think you do art as well. So talk a little bit about that, because you're an artist, a creator yourself.
Yeah, I guess so. I draw, I paint, I write. I'm more passionate now about writing. I haven't had a chance to really paint like I wanted to as of lately, but I still sketch. I see stuff and sketch and draw it, and make myself laugh. I'm a cartoonist, and paint. And I used to do. I went to a school of performing arts when I was younger. I went for 1 year before I decided I didn't want to go there anymore. So I know how to. I do pottery. I do ceramics. I do a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff. I was fortunate to learn at that early age to do a lot of stuff. But what stuck with me was the painting and the drawing. And the writing just came. I don't know where the writing came from. I had this creative mind. I sit down and I can come up with a story and just come out with it. I guess that maybe that's where the kids got some of it. But yeah,
Absolutely. It's in the genes. Do you feel like you directly or indirectly kind of nurtured their gifts, because the passions kind of align in a lot of areas with your writing and you just being artistic overall?
Yeah, it was a perfect storm. I mean, to use the term loosely, because what their mom brought to the table, she was a literary genius. I mean, she just read books, and that was her thing, reading. And I didn't. Reading was punishment to me. It was punishment. I mean, go read a book. I'm like, that's punishment. So when I got to college and upper school, reading it wasn't fun. It was like punishment, But she enjoyed reading, and she read to the kids, and she brought that. She made it fun for them to read, So that the reading and the creative part of that, it was her contribution. My contribution was a competitive fire. I mean, I look at how. I didn't take no for an answer when I was young. No just means I'm gonna try harder. You know what I mean? And I think my kids were fortunate enough to get just a little bit of blend from both of us, because my wife, ex-wife, she wasn't the kid's mom. She wasn't overly competitive. She was competitive, but not. I'm overly competitive. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna beat you. Then don't want me talking. I'm that guy. Don't want me talking. Beat me. I won't talk. But if I'm beating you, you're gonna hear about it. You know what I mean? So
Oh my goodness.
they got a little bit of that. You know what I mean? For me, a little bit of that from her. You know what I mean? And like I said, it was a perfect storm. It worked out. It worked out just fine. But my wife told me one day. She said, "You know what? You thought they were athletes, and what they are, they're actually artists."
That being said, with you talking about Creed being about your family,
Hmm.
um, like how so? I know that you were a huge Rocky fan
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that you show the boys, you introduced them to the Rocky films. Is
Hmm.
that kind of how it played a part into that as well?
Kind of, sorta. The story behind that was my mom was terminally ill, and she was sick for a long time. And as her cancer progressed, she succumbed to breast cancer. And I don't know, I remember it was 80, 81. I can't remember what year it was. So long ago, 1981. She succumbed to it. And the cancer progressed, she would be up late night taking medication. And so we were blessed to have cable. One of the few families in the neighborhood that had cable. So I'd be in the basement watching the cable TV, watching Rocky. Rocky was always on, right? So I watch Rocky. Right? So I'm watching it 10 times, 12 times, 15 times, and I watched to stay up because I knew that at some point she was going to need her pain medication. And I felt like I went to sleep, I would sleep through it. So I'm in the basement, watching Rocky 3, 4, 5 times, and she'd wake up and I'd give it to her. We'd walk around the neighborhood and do that, and then and it got better. So as it progressed, she was hospitalized, and I would visit her in the hospital, and I would walk around the corridor with her. We walk laps on the corridor, 3, 4, 5, 10 laps, whatever. And I noticed once again as it progressed, we couldn't walk as many laps around the corridor. So yeah, so I was telling these stories to Ryan as a kid, how I would do that. I get off work and work. Excuse me. I get out of school and I would come to Oakland Hospital and I'd visit her, and we'd do our little strength stuff, and I'd have her going around the corridor walking, and she'd be doing it like a little soldier, it's like a little trooper. And then I would realize that damn, like my mom used to do like 15 laps around it. Now she's doing 7. Now she's doing 3. Now I'm carrying her. I literally, for the last time, I had her on my shoulders. Like I'm like the fireman pole, carried. I was carrying her. I said, if I do laps, you do laps. If I'm doing laps, you doing laps. So yeah, so that in the movie, there were scenes in Rocky 2 in particular that I would watch. It's kind of emotional. I may even drop a tear or two right now. I'm just that dude. But I would tell I would tell the boys, like, I would tell them, I would tell my mom, just, just like Mickey told Rocky, just get up and fight one more time. Just fight one more time. I would tell them just one more time. Just fight one more time. Start one more time. So that particular scene in the movie was inspirational. So I had the kids watch it. They play sports. They were inundated with sports. I'd have them watch it, and that's why I would sometimes I would fast forward to that scene, and they were like, "Why does Papa always I was watching the same scene?" You know what I mean? And he's having us watch him. He's in the back crying. I think years later I explained to them the emotions behind it. What it was, what it meant to me. So yeah, that was that. And in doing that is where Ryan did the one time he did share with me his idea. We worked together um, for a year or two in the probation department in San Francisco. So we were coming home one day, getting a ride home, and I was giving a ride to the house. He said, "Pop, I want you to read. It's called A Treatment. I want you to read it." I'm like, "What is that?" He says, "Like a 9-page report of this movie I'm thinking about." So I'm like, "All right, man. Now he was just finished Fruitvale Stage, so he's doing movies, right?" I'm like, that was a fluke, man. That was a fluke. You know what I mean? But it was great. It was wonderful. But okay. Now you do another movie? He said, "Yeah, okay. Write the script for another movie." So I read it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I couldn't put it down. Like 9 pages. I'm like, "Where's the rest?" It's only like 9 pages. It's called a treatment. I think it's called treatment, formula treatment, something like that. And I was like, "Yeah, man. That's great." So he took it, ran with it, and yeah, met Stallone and did a couple of other things and pulled that string, and so yeah, that was the whole Rocky Creed thing, and it was on the night. I was in sitting right where I am right now, clicking on. I was like, wow, that's something. You know what I mean? That originated from a story that I would, not stories, but things I would share with my son. Took it and put it all together like clay, and just molded it into this movie, this really a staple. It's a staple in in the movie industry.
Looking at things now, what do you feel like is most important to you in regards to family?
I used to say the family being together, in particular father. It's unfortunate, I make a lot of flack saying this, but let's just keep it a bean. You know what I'm saying? Uh, when the family's not intact, the majority of the time it's the father. Let's just be real, it's the father. I've seen situations. I know situations personally where it was a mother or whatever caused it, but I could think of 3 or 4 times it was a mom. But for the most part, if I grabbed up in a random study and I grabbed 100 families with situations, 80 of them gonna be the father. So let's just deal with that, the father. I used to say the father being there made the difference. And I've wavered over the years. Like, I don't know if that's the most important part of the father being there. I think the father being there, being here, being present, being in his right mind, being there is more important than the father just being there. Well, that's a situation where the father's there and that ship's still sinking. You know what I mean? So I think that mental health right now is the most underrated problem that we don't address in the black community, and the fact that black men in particular run from it. Therapy, they run from this, they run from that, don't want the help, and they want to do it by themselves. They want to be lone wolves, and that's a situation there. So I think that a intact father, who's, even though he may have some issues, may have some problems, may have some vices, but he's seeking help with a woman who understands that and wants to help him. That's the formula right there for I think the beginning for successful children. I think. Now, once again, we can take that, and I've seen enough families, enough kids, enough situations that, like chess pieces, I can move a piece and move a piece there and change it dramatically. But for the most part, I think those things are needed. That's the ingredient. It's like having gumbo with no crab. That's not gumbo if the crab is in there. You know what I'm saying? You can call it gumbo, but if you ain't got no crab and shrimp and sausage, that's not gumbo. It's just some good ass rice. You know what I'm saying? So that's with that intact family, that father who, with that, yeah. So like I say, I make it flat. People that may hear this and think differently, and that's just how you think. That's how I think.
And it kind of plays a part into what you do now. You can speak a little bit about you now working with youth, what you used to do for
Yeah,
an occupation,
yeah,
and what you do now, and why is it that you do what you do now? Why is that important
yeah.
to you?
I had an injury, and I can't remember what year it was, 2017, I think it was, and I had an injury that resulted in my retirement. So I was sitting at home with a friend of mine, and I said, "Damn, I worked here for, like, I called it 30 years, but officially it was 29 years, more than 30. And he'd been there for 30, and he retired, 32 actually for him. And we were just talking in my living room. And I said, damn, man, I said, 29, again, 30, it was only 29. 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
32 for you. I said, man, how many kids did we put handcuffs on, man? And he said, damn, man, probably 30,000. I said, Jesus Christ. So I did some math. I grabbed some paper. I'm always sketching stuff. So 3, 0, 0, 0, 0. I said, damn, dude, that's 4 zeros, man. This is what you talking about. It says of 3 with 4 zeros, 30,000. I said, let's take off a zero, man. Bow. I said, that's 3,000. Have you helped 3,000 kids? He said, nah, man, hell nah. I said, okay, I'm a fair man. Let's take another zero. Bow. I said, that's 300. I said, I know you have. I'm going to ask that question for you. I'm going to take off all the zeros. Then that was 30. Have you helped 30 kids directly? He said, no. I said, neither have I. But I got so good with it being paid by a county, being paid, a specific amount of money and being able to make more money. If I do my job well, I can make even more money. And I'm taking kids, predominantly most of the kids that we dealt with were African American, you know what I mean, or Latin. Taking them off the streets and throw them in the cars and arrest them and bring them to juvenile hall and
Mm-hmm.
booking them. I worked at a high school. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
did all day long. Took from high school to jail, high school to jail, high school to jail, and loved it. Loved my job. I mean, I'm sitting having lunch while kids in the back of the car handcuffed. I didn't feel bad about it. It's like, you should have done what you did. Then I started having kids and I started raising a family, realizing that this ain't the answer right here. So I thought about it, and here's my opportunity now to give back. I can never do enough work what I'm doing right now to suffice the fact that I put handcuffs on 30,000 kids. One of the problems we had in our community was education, lack thereof, and the fact that particularly young black males, nobody wants to educate them. They don't get the opportunities that everybody else is getting. They don't get the chances. You know what I mean? They don't get the chance. They get one strike. I mean, they play a baseball game, one strike and you out. Everybody else get 3 strikes and some get 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you get one strike as a black male and your ass is out. You're out.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my opportunity now I can pitch. Let me pitch. And I'm pitching in balls that he can hit. There's not gonna be any strikes. I'm not gonna let him strike out. And if I got a strike, I'm not gonna let him strike out. I'm gonna throw pitches that he can hit, and I'm gonna make it available. And all of the resources that I have and all the things that I know and gather information I've read about over the years, I'm gonna compile all this and put together, and I'm gonna try to empower these young kids. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And I realized that not going to the deeper end of it is, I think that hurt and pain in the house is sad and lonely. But when hurt and pain open the door and come outside, hurt and pain is tough. I'm tough now. I'm bad. I'm a bully. I'm a tough guy. I'm a cause
Mm-hmm.
problem. I'm a dude. All this angry, bad, malicious crap. You know what I mean? Because I'm hurting, and I realize that's what
Mm-hmm.
these kids are. And I asked them, "You need a hug?
Mm-hmm.
You need a hug?" Yeah, I think I need a hug.
Mm-hmm.
And I get both.
Yeah.
I get both. But they sit across from me, and little black boys, and they'll sit me. They go like this, and I put the other hand up like for a heart. Remember, you look back, 30, 40, 50 years ago, if I was telling a story to my grandfather, he would be like, "What do you mean you tell a boy you love him? You love him? Like, what are you talking about?" I'm saying, man, you could say that, Grandpa. You could say that. If he was here now, you could say that. That's the problem. That's what they don't hear.
Yeah,
And they
they
don't
need
hear that.
that.
They don't hear that.
And are there any unspoken words that you would say to your children when they were young, or even now, that you feel maybe you haven't said, or you
Great
want
question.
to say it again?
When my kids were kids, I said everything that I wanted to say to them and some. I said some
Okay.
things I probably didn't want them to. They should have heard.
Right, I got you. I
I
got
was
you.
never at a loss for words. They were kids. I was never at a loss for words. Now, as an adult now, we made a decision a couple years ago. My wife and I got a divorce, and I didn't realize the divorce has an impact on uh, adult children like as much as it did as it does with younger children. So
Mhm.
that was a blow that my family took, and yeah, um, you know, this is something that people can listen to. I never had a chance to tell my wife that I'm sorry. I live my life with no regrets. We sit down and I see, what? If I lay my head down tonight, I don't have any regrets, man. But I just wish I had a chance to say, like, I'm sorry. Sorry. As a man, I can't have a complete life knowing that there's a person out there that I spent 40 plus years of my life with that
Yes.
I can't say I'm sorry to. You know, that's that's what I would say. I would say I'm sorry. That's it.
So before we wrap up here, I wanted to ask you, like, if tomorrow you wake up and you could do anything that you wanted to do, what do you think you would be doing?
If I could be anything that I want, I would want to be I would want to be a doctor without borders.
Okay.
I'm a doctor without borders. I want to get on a plane and I want to go somewhere and help people who are underserved, who are just left for naught. So I would do that. I see clips of war torn third world countries, and I saw one the other day where a little girl was drinking condensation from the tailpipe of a truck. From the tailpipe of a truck, she was getting that water, drinking it. Now, that shouldn't be. It shouldn't. We did something wrong. I'm not trying to make this religious, trying to make this political. Because I stay away from both of those arenas. But I'm just keeping the shit real. I'm just keeping it a buck. Hey, we did something wrong. We did something wrong. Mankind. We suck at mankind. If you can do that, if you can allow that, and we suck at mankind. You know, the easiest thing I think we were all put here just to live and help each other.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Well, I thank you so much. I thank you so much for joining me. It was so good to see you.
Always. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, Royal Ones, remember, it's never too late to create.